So, what if you've never played WoW before? How do you do it? Hello, my name is Dravot. Thank you for tuning in. Today we're just going to be teaching you how to play World of Warcraft if you want to. We're going to be focused on the retail version today, but they do have a classic version, and they will be coming out with a Burning Crusade version here pretty soon. The retail version right now is Shadowlands. It's a lot of fun. I do suggest it if you don't have anything else that you're doing right now. The first thing you'll need to do is create a Blizzard account. So you'll have to go to your web browser. Let's see how this works. Blizzard.com. Alright, so once you get in here, you'll actually have to create an account. Once you do, you'll be given the option to go through and download the client. The client is the Blizzard installer. Let's go ahead and pull that up for us real quick. Right here. You get your Blizzard installer, and then from here, this is where you can go. Instead of saying play, it'll say download. And you download the game, and it'll let you play from there. It has all the other Blizzard games if you ever decide you want to play that. Choosing a realm. Now, if you have friends, you're going to want to know what realm they're on. They will tell you. They'll know the name of the realm. They are in alphabetical order on here. If you don't have friends, they have these realms called new player realms. I know you're going to be a new player. In the end, it's up to you. You don't want to be on a realm that doesn't have a population. Blizzard is doing a good job at trying to fix some of this, but you never know what's going to happen. Mine used to be a high pop realm. Now it's a medium population realm. It happens, so we just have to live with it. In the end, you're going to have to make a choice. I would suggest anything from medium to high. Full, it might be kind of rough, right? It might be kind of difficult. You might actually get queued up before you can get in. That has been known to happen. But anything from medium to high is usually good. Low, you never know. You might like it, but low pop realms can tend to be interesting. That's what we'll say. So we're going to take our own advice. Look, we have a nice medium population realm here. This Illyria. I like Illyria. So we're going to go ahead and go with that. So we're going to choose our realm, and it's going to log us into that particular server. The very first thing we're going to have to think about doing is choosing a faction. Okay, so we have the Alliance and we have the Horde. And it's really just your flavor. You can look and kind of get a good idea of what the characters look like here, and just kind of look at something that kind of suits your style. I'm gonna go old school, and I'm gonna go with the Tauren because I kind of already know what I want to do here, right? But I'm gonna give you some advice. So first, this is just kind of the flavor, right? The flavor of the class itself. You're gonna have to try to decide down here which class you like, what you kind of like to do. So WoW has a Trinity system, and when I say Trinity system, it's the main way you're going to play the game. So we have, when the Trinity system are tanks, DPS, and healers. So tanks, they kind of keep everything's attention, and they have to take a lot of damage and try to keep all the mobs from attacking everybody else. So that's what our tank is going to do. Our DPS means damage per second, and they're the ones that just pump in and they kill things as fast as they can. Healers, easy enough. They try to keep the group alive. So they throw out their healing spells, and they make sure that nobody dies. So that's the first main thing you have to do. So tanks, the next thing we have to talk about are ranged and melee. Healers, you're going to be ranged. Tanks, you're going to be melee. That's just how it is, right? So DPS are really the only ones that have this choice. Range means you stand at range to attack the mobs. Melee means you're up close and personal when you're attacking the mobs. So kind of have an idea of how you want to fight. Do you want to be up in everybody's face while you're fighting? Or do you want to be farther back so you can kind of see everything and survey the terrain? Now, certain classes can do different things. The warrior, it can be a tank, and it has 2 types of melee DPS. Our hunter is what we call a pure DPS class. So all it does is DPS. You can have 2 of them that are ranged and 1 that is melee. The survival hunter is a melee class for our hunters. Mage, we'll have to pick something that could be a mage. Mage is another pure DPS class, and this is a solely ranged DPS class. You're not going to have any other options except for ranged DPS. Rogue, pure DPS class, all melee DPS, but they can also stealth. That's their big thing, right? Priest is about the only one I could think of that's really strongly focused on healing. You have 2 healing specs in this. We'll just stick with that. 2 healing specs, and then you have 1 ranged DPS class. Warlock. I forgot to mention this with hunters. Hunters are a pet class. Same thing with warlocks. Warlocks are a pet class as well, but they're pure DPS. You're going to be doing ranged attacks here. Paladin. Let's find someone that could be a paladin here. So paladins are melee DPS. They're a hybrid class that they can do the 3 things. They can be tank, they can heal, and they can DPS. My favorite. Of course, this is what I'm going to choose. This is the Druid. Druids are very special. One of the reasons they're my favorite classes. They can tank, they can heal, they can melee DPS and range DPS. The only class that can do all of those. This is your Druid. So it's like the ultimate hybrid class, right? We still call this one a hybrid class too. Anything that like heals and DPS, I just tends to be called hybrids. This one can't tank though. For some reason, we still call, I think because it's back in the old school, I always still call the shaman a hybrid class, even though they're not technically, because all they can really do is heal and DPS. But the thing with this is you get a melee DPS, a ranged DPS, and then you get a healer. Monk. You can tank, heal, and melee DPS. Demon Hunter. Oh. So for the Demon Hunter, there's only 2 options here. There's tank, and then there's melee DPS for the Demon Hunter. And Death Knight. You have a tank spec and then 2 melee DPS specs. Alright. Those are your choices. Those are your options. Kind of decide how you want to fight and then go from there. Myself, I'm going to go Horde. I'm going to go with a Tauren. And I'm going to go with the Druid because I know I like it. And if you know anything about me, that's what we're going to go with. We're not going to do a class trial. You could do that there. If you're brand new, I don't think that's an option for you. It might be. I think they'll let you pay to boost character. I don't know. We're just going to start from scratch. They have a new leveling system. It shouldn't be much of a problem. Plus, you want to learn how to do all this anyways. Gonna go with customized. We're just gonna stick with whatever this bad boy has. Let's see if my name's available. Let's just see. Whatever he's got, he's got. Okay, we're doing, you do have options if you're not brand new, but we're gonna do our brand new experience, which is Exile's Reach. We're gonna take a look at that. And we have our character. Here they are. We are actually going to go ahead and enter that world. All right, so we did a really quick introduction, and now we're here on this island. The introduction kind of shows you how to move. I really don't like the keybinds that WoW has or their initial setup. So I'm going to kind of show you real quick, down and dirty, what you want to change, what you want to move just to get going, right? First things first, this is crap. You don't want this up here. So we're going to come up here and we can unlock this. So you unlock the frame. That way we could just move it down here to a place where we can see it. And we'll use our target. We'll do the same thing. We'll unlock this frame so that we can move it right down here so we're able to see that. As things stand right now, I have all of my add-ons. Oops. I've just turned them all off because we're not going to be dealing with add-ons or anything right now. You're getting into the game. You're trying to learn. Another thing that I would like to do is I would like to come in here and make sure we have all of our action bars turned on because I use them all. Very next thing that I highly suggest you do. Now, everybody has their own ways of setting up keybinds. The important thing you want to know is that when you cast your spells, you don't want to click your spells to cast them. You don't want to have to be looking down here and clicking. You want to be able to look out and about up here so that you can see what you're doing. And then if you'll notice, I'm not clicking it with the mouse. I'm just clicking the buttons on the keyboard. That way you can keep your eyes on what you're supposed to be seeing and click them here. Tons of different ways to do this. You're gonna have to find out what's comfortable, a way that you can move and a way that you can still reach the keys that you need to reach. All right, everybody's different. Everybody has what they like. As a matter of fact, I never use like the keyboard turn. Right now I have it like set left arrow, right arrow to do that. Whenever I'm turning, I'll just use my mouse. First off, you have more control, but if you right click and drag, it actually moves your character. If you left click and drag, it only moves the camera. So you could actually be moving, use left click, get a good look at what's going around. If you actually want to move, you just do a right click and you can move around just using the mouse, not using the keyboard. So a lot of people don't like binding backpedal either, which is your S key. I highly suggest leaving that there. Some people, it's not necessary though. You can always just turn 180 with the mouse and get turned around going forwards, and you don't have to worry about backpedaling at all. I prefer it, so I leave the backpedal button there. And as far as moving left to right, I actually have my A and D keys set for strafe to move left and right. That way I can bind my Q and E's, which are really close to my fingers there, on the keyboard for my spells, and it just makes it a lot faster and a lot easier. Shift V, Control V, and Alt V. Anything V to mess with these bars so that you can see all, some, just enemies, all of that. And you're going to be able to turn on the unit frames here in the default browser. I use LVUI, so I hardly ever mess with that. I'm not going to go through and do all of my keybinds so I could show you how that works, but just so you understand where those are at and how that works. So now that I'm here, I'm going to stay at range. I'm going to kill a Murloc. I target it, hit a spell, and then we'll just kill that guy. It shows us how to loot a corpse. That is all very nice. Good. Do the same thing here. Cool. I am going to do another thing which is very nice and easy. We're going to come into System. Where's that under Interface? Yeah, Controls. We want Auto Loot on. We don't want to choose each thing. It'll be fine. If our bags ever get full, we'll just use something else inside there. When we loot things, it shows up here in our bags. Level 5 boots. I have no boots. It's actually telling me to put that in there. That's quite nice. You could right click it or you can drag and drop it in there. I usually just right click it. So we've looted our last first aid kit. And we have our quest bars over here. We could click on that and it'll actually open this up and kind of tell us. We only had one so far, but it'll give us more options here and give us more lists as we need them. Of course, we had the exclamation point before. The quest is completed. It's turned into a question mark, which means we could turn it in. We have our first aid kits, and we'll complete the quest. Then we get another quest. I didn't show you this before, but up here in our mini-map, it kind of shows us highlighted areas of where we can complete quest items. It's so easy. Just follow the map. So we're here to this next quest. And as we go along, we'll get more quests, do more things. The minimap has all kinds of interesting things. Like we can see right here, there's a treasure chest we could go and find. As we keep completing these quests, this bar down here, our experience bar, is going to fill up. As it fills up, we'll get more and more levels. As we get more and more levels, we'll get more and more spells to use. Another thing to be aware of as you're questing through the world, if you hover over mobs, if you're doing a quest, like we have to get raw meat collected from wildlife. This is wildlife. Does it have what I have? There is a tooltip. It shows up right down here. So as I hover over something, you'll see that it does give me the raw meat. It'll show me that this is a mob that does drop a quest item. There are add-ons later on that make this easier, but I'm just pointing out that how the native UI works. Whoa, open my chest. What's inside? All right, we have more gear. A little bit more about mobs. So if a mob has a red icon, then they're going to be aggressive. They have a yellow one, they're not going to be aggressive. Another goodie box. Let's see what's inside. Yeah, okay, more gear. So they do a really good job of kind of showing you a lot of the different kinds of quests you'll have and how to complete them. This might be one of the more difficult ones. Not difficult, but less intuitive. Of course, to get on the vehicle, there'll be a little button with the little jumpy arrow. Shows you how to get on there. What you do for this is you'll see down here on your vehicle bar, you have an exit vehicle button, but you also have this action button that shows you how to, and I use the hotkey. You already have the one bound, so you just hit the hotkey, but it gives you this little device that you can move with your mouse, and all you do is choose where you want it to go, and then hit the left click button. This is tough. Guy's dead. We gotta wait for him to spawn. That happens from time to time. So, as you're binding things, and as you get more spells, you'll kind of figure out how you want to bind your keys. Now, for instance, I know where I want my things to go. For me, later on, I'm going to have a macro here for my mass entanglement and my typhoon. And I know that goes in my Q key. And then for my typhoon, I just hit control and Q, and it switches from mass entanglement to typhoon. When we get into macros, I'll show you that later. That's going to be a whole nother video, I'm sure. For my interrupts, my interrupt goes on Z key. Then my next one goes on Shift Z, and my next one goes on Alt Z, right? So you'll kind of see things. Speed boost going to my C, then my next one goes into Shift C, and my next one goes on to Alt C. You kind of see a pattern here, right? As far as I kind of keep my main spells here and on this top bar, but as far as my I call them utilitarian, I keep those down here. The things I don't use as much. I have a lot of items in my bag that I don't want and I don't need. They have this little sack. NPCs that have this little sack over them. You just right click them and you could sell them things. Apparently I could buy stuff too. This looks like our very first elite mob. So they're denoted by a golden dragon. And you can tell with this little extra wing here, this is a special dragon. You will see some silver dragons. Some silver dragons will have this special ring. That means they're elites as well. But you'll also see some silver dragons where it doesn't have this extra wing part. Those are just rares. So rare elites will still be silver, but they'll have this extra piece. And elite in general will just be gold with this. I've never seen a gold one without the. That's not an elite. We'll just say that. Let's see what happens. Not too complicated. I guess this is a good time to talk about mechanics. Mechanics are things you have to avoid, interrupt, dodge, and because most of the time with tab targeting, you just kind of just do your thing. This is a good idea of what a mechanic is. Whenever they get into Dragons 101, we'll kind of deal more with positioning and things like that. Those are also considered mechanics. I have to admit, this was easier than I thought it would be, but oh well. Oh, getting another chest. Oh, always good stuff, yeah. So this is an example of I don't bind everything. Let me show you what I mean. So I'm not going to use bear form much at all. So I'm not going to bind this key. I don't use it. I'm not going to bind it. If I ever need it, I'll just click it. That's that. All right, so we have this star up here, which means a rare most of the time. It could be a rare elite. We're going to go check it out. Just so I could show you. So it's an Orger Taskmaster. It is a rare because it has a silver, but you can see how it doesn't have that extra little piece. So it's just a standard rare. Usually means they have some good loot though. Okay, so we may be getting into group content for soon. And when we do, I don't like WoW's default bars. They'll have all of the characters kind of loaded up right here. It's just not very helpful. So we're gonna switch this up. We're gonna do this just like if I was doing my raid, right? I like power balls. I don't like pets. Only dispellable debuffs, because eventually I do, and I like it short and narrow, and I like it for everything. And I mean everything. We say okay. So once we're in here, we're going to unlock this, and that gives us the option to move this about. Yeah. So I like keeping it pretty close to where I can heal people. And that's that. Alright, so they're gonna do a Dragons 101 with us. In Dragons, you stay away from the head from breaths and the tail from swipes. Again, it's mechanic stuff, so yeah. So I have to say, Blizzard has done an awesome job trying to teach you how to play this game with the beginning experience. I honestly don't have to teach you very much, but I wanted to give you some flavor so you're more prepared for some of the things that are to come in the future. Like keybinds, I know people hate binding their keys. It takes some getting used to. Highly suggested, just bind your keys. Get used to playing that way. It's so much better in the end if you cast your spells using your keys instead of clicking. Don't be a clicker. You can click some things, but don't click all things, alright? I showed you a few things to make the standard interface easier to read, easier to use. That does it for this video. That is it. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you liked it. I know if you play Warcraft, if you watch this for, God bless you. But if you're interested in playing, I hope this helps boost your confidence a little bit. If you're a WoW player, I'm surprised you're even watching this. I don't even know why you are. But hopefully you can recommend it to your friends. I think the little tips and tricks we have here just kind of help for a new player not to get to the point where they hit in-game and they're just stuck. These are really important things. I'm going to cover a couple other things I think are necessary once you get to endgame, but this will get you there and you'll be fine. Till next time, make sure you turn on war mode. Do 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 do.